Gentlemen, ladies, Sandamtod is here. Doing a tag video. Got tagged by Nemesis. It's a top 5 PlayStation 2 games tag. Um, I can't just do 5, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm doing a top 10. I can't limit it to 5. It's too hard. It's funny because nobody really talks about last gen. I mean, at least it doesn't seem like it. You know, it seems like people will pick up a PlayStation 2 game or they'll pick up an Xbox game or something, and it's just kind of, you know, well, I got this, and just kind of toss it aside. It's not really much enthusiasm behind the games or anything. It seems like people are either this gen, you know, PS3, Wii, you know, I don't really hear of the Wii either, but PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, or, you know, it's retro. And I love retro, and that's usually what I talk about. So I know I don't talk about last gen that much, but last gen was one of my favorite systems of all time, and that is the PlayStation 2. And I remember I wanted one so badly, and I think they were I don't know if they were 400 when I was looking at one, or whether they were 350. I think they were 350. I waited about a year after it came out to really let them get a second version, you know, a model under their belt where they'd work some of the bugs out. It seemed like the early ones, the DVD players were burning up on them because people were using them for DVD players as well. And I just think it was getting work double time. You know, people would play a game for 6 hours and they turn around and stick, you know, 2 movies in and watch it for another 4 hours, you know, burn them up. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about the PlayStation 2 games. Let's get started here. I didn't really put these in an order, so we're not going to do them in an order, I guess. The first game out of my 10, well, maybe I can organize this real quick while I'm babbling. You know, I remember I was waiting for a tax refund or something. Oh, I know what it was. Back when Bush was president, he was giving those, what were they, rebates or something for $300 to a single person and like $500 to a family or whatever. And I remember I was waiting for mine, and when I got it, I ran out and got the PlayStation 2, and I got I'd already bought my first game and a memory card. I was just waiting for that rebate. Anyway, since we're already putting the hurt on the minute timer, let's get going. First game out of my 10, we'll say number 10. Reason why I like the system is right here. Tony Hawk 3. I love the Tony Hawk series, at least through Tony Hawk 3. 4 was pretty good. After that, and all the other Tony Hawk games I never really cared for. I thought 3 was my favorite out of the 2 that were on the PlayStation 2 before it went to the Underground and all those other ones. I think I got this at Game Exchange. I remember I had never played Tony Hawk, and the girl I was dating at the time lived in an apartment, and this kid down the hall had some games, and she had my PlayStation 2 over at her house, and she borrowed a couple games from the kid and let him borrow one of the ones that we had over there. And she borrowed Tony Hawk 2, and I'd never played any of the Tony Hawks, and I remember playing it and thinking it was really cool, and I was like, well, if there's a PlayStation 2 one, it's got to be, you know, at least graphically better. And so we got this, and it's just fun to, you know, go through different areas and pick up the skate tapes and the skate letters, and, you know, complete the high score and the trick combos and everything, try to beat the levels. And like I said, that one's probably my favorite. Number 9 is a game. I love the movies, and when I knew they were coming out with a game, I had to get it. That'd be Evil Dead, the Fistful of Boomstick. I like the other one as well, but it's a little more repetitive than this one, if you can say that. This one, Bruce Campbell does the voice on both. But this was released at $20, brand new. It was released at $20. And if you love Evil Dead, you gotta play Fistful of Boomstick. It's just one of those games that's just fun. And there's some little quirky things you can do, some different abilities you have aside from just having your chainsaw and shotgun. And you do get a couple other guns as you're going along. But you are fighting the Evil Dead, and you work your way up to the end boss. And how you fight the end boss is a bit of a surprise, and I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I recommend it. If you like kind of a little bit of a beat 'em up, just kind of easygoing game that's not too heavy. Next game, number 7. Sorry, Nemesis, that I'm doing a top 10, but I just can't limit myself. Next game would be Silent Hill 2. Never played Silent Hill 1 on the PS1, but I remember somebody told me, I think at one of the game stores, was like, oh, if you like Resident Evil, you'll like Silent Hill, and I was like, oh, I'll have to check it out. This game is really atmospheric and creepy. You spend a lot of time wandering around with nothing around, and you are constantly on edge because you're waiting for something to pop up and take you down. But I've had this game in my collection off and on. I had it, I traded it in, and then I found it again at a pawn shop and picked it up again. Never completed it. I have beaten Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick. I've never completed Silent Hill 2, but this is still one of my favorites, even though I've never beaten it. And actually, probably about 3 or 4 of these I've never actually beaten, but they're still favorites. Number 6 would be The Force Unleashed. I love this game on both platforms, on the Xbox 360 and this. I know it came out on the PS3. I don't have a PS3, but this one is definitely a little easier than the 360 one, and even the levels are slightly different to accommodate the difference in the graphics and stuff. But I have beaten this one. I like the story. Actually, a couple of the bosses are even different. And it's complete. I started keeping my receipts a while back, and then I started throwing them away again. I started keeping them so I would know what day and where I bought it, just for the hell of it. But much people okay. As for number 5, this is one of the only greatest hits. I've got like maybe 2 or 3 more greatest hits, but I'm not a big greatest hits fan. But this game can't be denied. This is one I got early on, and I have beaten it with every character. That would be Twisted Metal Black. I'm not really a car game guy, but this Demolition Derby style Mad Max kind of fight to the death thing is my kind of deal, and it's pretty badass. Twisted Metal Black. And speaking of which, I'd like to get a black label copy of Twisted Metal Black. But this one has always done the trick, so. If you like that kind of Mad Max Demolition Derby style game, this one's it. It's also got some cheat codes. I don't know if I have them in here. I had some written down. Where you have like invincibility and unlimited firepower and things like that. That just makes it fun. It can be a little tedious and a little hard if you don't have those codes. But when you put those codes in and are able to at least have unlimited ammo or missiles or whatever, it makes it that much more fun. Next game, I just noticed I don't have any fighting games in this genre. And it's because after about the Super Nintendo, actually the PS1, after the PS1 I really didn't buy fighting games much anymore. Number 5, Nemesis had picked its predecessor, but I have to pick this one. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I did like Grand Theft Auto, and it was popular enough that it got remade, Liberty City Stories or whatever. But when Vice City came out and it had the 80s kind of Miami Vice vibe, and the voice acting in this was pretty high caliber, and it's just it to me was a step above what Grand Theft Auto 3 was. I think in Grand Theft Auto 3 did not have like motorcycles, and this one had motorcycles and helicopters. You could fly and do the motorcycles as well. From what I remember, I don't think Grand Theft Auto 3 had motorcycles. I spent so much time just driving around and jumping, ramping off stuff, and trying to crash things and doing crazy shit more than I actually spent time playing it. I'm probably about 50% through this game. I went and I took out a crime boss and inherited his mansion, and that was the last mission I remember doing. It's probably about halfway through the game. But this is a favorite. Number 6, or 4, I guess. I don't know what direction we're going. Number 4, I love the whole series, at least the first 3. Um, but I picked this one just because I don't have the original on my PlayStation 2. That would be Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones. This one, he's got like this chain weapon and kind of this dark possession that takes him over now and again. And when he lands in water, it'll recede, but it'll take him over sometimes. And this one, you drive chariots and different things like that. I love the Prince of Persia style of game. The solving a quick puzzle or trying to figure out how to puzzle yourself through a room or whatever, but also slashing a guy with a sword or whatever. Sands of Time, where you can back time up and stuff. It just Sands of Time is one of my favorite all-time games. I have it on the Xbox, the Sands of Time, and I have it for the PC. But I don't have Sands of Time for the PlayStation 2. I keep my eye out for it, but I've yet to find it for a decent price that I want to pay. I also have Two Thrones and Warrior Within for my PC as well. They're just awesome games. I think I picked those up cheap. That store, I don't know if the store chain is nationwide, but there's a store chain here called Big Lots. And for a long time, they would sell like PC software and stuff. They're kind of like I don't know, they sell stuff kind of like a Dollar General store or something, but, it's on the cheap. And they would have like PC software and stuff for like $2 and stuff. And it'd be brand new. And I found those Prince of Persia games and stuff there, and I just couldn't pass them up. I'm getting down to the 3-2-1 here. This is tough when to get down to the bottom. Okay, we'll do it this way. Number 3 is Champions of Norrath. If you like Diablo or a game like that on the PC and Macintosh, this game is a mirror image of like a Diablo style game. It's got orcs and all sorts of baddies. It's got magic. It's got your weapons and armor, and you're powering up and leveling up your character. You have amulets and earrings and all that crap that you can put on to build your character up. I think you can play 2-player co-op on this, actually. It says 1 to 4 players with a multi-tap. Jesus, I didn't know you could play 4-player. Champions, I don't have the instructions for it because I bought this at Blockbuster Video. I got like a printout type of card. I think I made that or something just to fill space inside. I should pick up a copy with the instructions. I actually kind of forgot it didn't have the instructions. I'm in the final chapter on this game, folks, and I kind of dogged out on it. I never finished it. I'm probably like 90% through the game and I never finished it. But it's a favorite of mine. I have the sequel and I've never started it because I want to finish this one because you can port your character over to the sequel, and I wanted to do that, so I've never finished it. Number two, I should pick the original, but the second one was just so much better. I got to go with God of War 2, a Sony property. This game is awesome. I love just slashing stuff and ripping the crap out of just hordes of guys and fighting big bosses. I don't mind quick time events. Some people hate them. I don't mind them. I actually think it breaks up kind of a button mash and it makes it a little more interesting. Um, this game just, I remember playing straight through it and beating it, and I don't think I've played it since. But it just wowed me when I played through it, and I would stick it back in and play through it again, but there's just so many other games to play. I hope to play it again someday, but that game, I would buy a PlayStation 2 for that game. um, but number one, this was one of my favorite series of all time, through the PS1 and the PS2. This was the final game they released, and I was sad to hear that they probably weren't going to release anymore due to sales. But it's been one of my favorites. I thought the level of cinematics and storyline were awesome. The only thing that bugged me is on some of the predecessor games, you couldn't skip the cinematics. And so if you died, you had to sit through the whole cinematic. But I actually did my very first gameplay on the first game I picked up. But that would be the Legacy of Kain series, and we're going with Defiance as my number one game. The reason why is this game was the culmination of Blood Omen and Soul Reaver 2. It kind of joined them both together, and you get to play Kain and Raziel, and it kind of explains the story, and it kind of sums everything up just right. And it's just an awesome game. And this one you can skip the cinemas on. So I mean, they improved everything about the other two games when they made this game. And I was sad that this was probably going to be the final one. They may pull it out of mothballs someday and do a remake or a new one, but I love it to death. Yeah, the swordplay can be a little repetitive. I like the soul reaving ability, or the blood sucking ability of Kain to refill your life. I like the special moves you learn, and the story. The story is not at least 50% of why it's such an awesome game. Actually, Soul Reaver 2 was the one I was gonna pick, but when I got to thinking about it, I'm like, I think Defiance and having the Kain, because Blood Omen was not as good. It was kind of like they rushed it. It really needed a lot more polish. The cinematics, sometimes the voice doesn't even match up with the lip movement, and the fighting is real repetitive in Blood Omen. But I have beaten it, and I have beaten Defiance and God of War. So we beat quite a few of those actually. I'm gonna get out of here, Nemesis. This sucker is way long. Tags. It's hard to tag people because, like I said, nobody really talks about last gen. I'm going to do an open tag. I would really like it if some PS2 players would do a top 5. You don't need to do a top 10. I just couldn't limit it to 10 because there's so many varied games. There's some that I didn't mention that I love, like Shadow of the Colossus, and some other games like I love the Outlaw Golf. Spider-Man 2, I know it was a movie game, but it was one of my favorites, just to swing around the city and do stupid stuff, and it was fun. So I'm gonna sign off, folks. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Nemesis for the tag, and I hope to see maybe at least one open response. I don't ask for much, folks. But if you want to do it, please do it, because it really would. I'd really like to know. I'd really like to see some people that have some love for the PlayStation 2. So anyway, I'm signing off. And Nemesis, I know you said something about the PS1 as well. I'll do a PS1 top 5 or top 10 sometime in the near future, because that system was also another one that I really love. So awesome question, brother. Signing off. See you next video, folks. Thanks for coming by.